Hey, for those of us that don't know which scene is which. Hey, Censored. First of all, big shout out. Thank you for the sub. 2 whole months. I don't know if that's an emoji or a badge, but thank you. Um, second of all, see you there, Bez. Thanks for hopping in, and Harley, my beautiful, wonderful mod. Um, Today it's just me and Striker while Ripper frantically tries to not get arrested
De-
for
and
speeding.
deported by Border Patrol.
I did not say that. Just to let you guys know, I am sure he will not. He is a legal U.S. citizen.
He's an illegal U.S. citizen. What?
Illegal, legal. All right. So what we are going to do is, since Mr. Stryker had a previous engagement last week, we're going to ask him to explain quickly his picks for the AFC West, which were 11-6 for the Chiefs, 10-7 for the Chargers, 7-10 for the Raiders, 6-11 for Broncos. Basically, not too crazy from what everybody else had. A little bit. The Chiefs he had tied with me at 11-6. Ripper was for some reason thinks they're going 15-2. We all. Well, I had the Chargers going 7-10. Him and Ripper had him at 10-7. The Raiders we had at 8-9, 9-8, and 7-10. So really, that's might as well be the same. And lastly, the Broncos I had at 8-9, Ripper 5-12, and you at 6-11. So just highlights, and then we can go.
Yeah. So the thing with the Chiefs for me, and I'm going to start there because I think that's the easiest explanation, is that they lost stuff on offense, and yeah, they got Mahomes. Like, don't get me wrong, Mahomes will win them game. Mahomes is like Brady in that regard. Like Brady would take teams and win games with him, but they don't really have good wide receivers. They don't have a good running back. Their tackles are terrible. So I mean, as long as Mahomes stays mobile, they're going to win 12 games. Will they win more than that? Probably not. Or 11 games. 11 games, not 12 games, but still. I mean, and they play a tough schedule, so it's not like they've got a weak schedule going into the year. They've got Detroit, they've got Jacksonville, they've got the Jets, they've got teams that actually could play hard with them, and then they've got Eagles and Bills, and I mean, it's just a tough schedule. I don't see them getting more than 11 wins. So
Yeah, the funny thing you said about the wide receiver. So we talked about that, and the wide receivers weren't anything to shout out about last year, right? So don't think that's a big deal. And then we thought Pacheco would have a good year. I did mention the tackles. I thought that Taylor was overpaid. I didn't like him in the Jags, so I thought he was a turnstile. So wasn't too upset about that one. And thought they overpaid for him. So
yeah,
I thought the defense would take a step back. Anyhow, real
yeah.
quick chat.
So
Harley likes the Little Peoples and the Cardinals, and um, Elite likes the Patriots. Mac Jones for MVP. Someone's been hitting the happy sauce.
yeah, someone got into Ripper's gummies. I take it. So my next team up is the Chargers at 10-7, and they didn't. To me, they didn't change a lot except for one key point, and they hired a new offensive coordinator, and they got what's his name, the former Cowboys offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. And Kellen Moore's a local boy for me. He grew up just up the road, and I actually know people who know his family, and so I'm a big fanboy of him, anyways. But the dude knows how to run an offense, and he's got a stud in Herbert who can throw the ball. He's got wide receivers in Williams and Allen and Eckler or Eckler or however you pronounce his name in the backfield. Like
Scat back.
they're gonna,
That's what I call
yeah,
him. Scat back.
they're gonna move the ball. The problem is they aren't gonna stop the ball, and so they're gonna get into a lot of really high scoring shootouts. So I mean, that puts a lot of who has the ball last sort of things, which is why I put them at 10-7. Is I mean they could easily be a 12-5 team, or they could be a 7-10 team. Like there's going to be a lot of fourth down or fourth quarter, 3 minute left sort of drives to get them to where they need to be. So
Yeah.
um, for the Raiders, I don't even know where to start. Their defense didn't step up. They've got Jimmy Garoppolo, who could be good, could not be. They have really outside of Devonte Adams. I mean, Jacoby Myers isn't bad, or Renfro isn't bad, but they're not. They've got a good running back in Jacobs, but they just don't have any ability to stop anybody. And so for me, the Raiders, that puts them real down the list because they don't have an ability to stop the ball. They were 26 in points allowed last year, and they didn't do a damn thing to improve that defense. So I mean, if anything, they actually lost. I mean, they signed Duran Harmon.
Yeah,
They,
it's bad. It's bad. It's
yeah,
not going to be. It's not. Yeah, the Raiders
yeah. I
aren't
mean,
turning into superstar the '85 Bears anytime soon.
speaking of that, did you catch that Ruggs got 3-10 for that
I did.
vehicle manslaughter or whatever it ended up being called
Which
as?
I mean,
I'm surprised it's that
social lesson. Don't drink and drive. To everybody, it's a dangerous weapon, and when you're drinking, these things happen. Especially drinking, speeding at that rate of speed, and then hitting that poor lady and her dog, and basically incinerating him. So it's a tragic tale. Someone lost their life, and I think it's like 3 to 10, right? He can get out three of good behavior.
3 of good behavior, and 10 is like the normal sentencing for it. So yeah, Harley and the dog actually burned up in the car. Yeah, it's one of those that's like an oh my god sort of. Yep, I agree, Harley. All right, and then my favorite team, the reason the Seahawks had some pretty high draft picks, the Russell Wilson show. They just, I don't know what Sean Payton's thinking, to be honest with you. Like, I just don't get it. Wilson's not good. Wilson has lost his step. Wilson can throw a deep ball still, but he's not the Wilson of old. They've got a pretty good defense in the grand scheme of things. I think their defense is going to keep them in a lot of games, but the only reason they didn't do so bad last year is because they brought in that quarterback when Wilson got hurt, and he actually did halfway decent. Stidham, I think it was. I don't even remember who it was at this point. But they don't. They have nobody. Like, if I go look and I go to use Ripper's fantasy football relevance, right? Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. Okay, Jeudy.
Those guys are both studs. They're both studs if they have a quarterback. Yeah. So the question that comes down to, do you believe in Sean Payton? Sean Payton has shown. Drew Brees was not a complete quarterback. Drew Brees was a 6-footer only because he had Air Jordans on. He could not throw outside of good weather. That's why he only played in San Diego, New Orleans, right? A dome and the most beautiful weather in the entire planet. But yet he still managed to win a Super Bowl with him. So the question is, can he turn Russell Wilson into a legit quarterback? And I don't think it's going to be Russell Wilson at all. But if he turns it to Russell Wilson somewhere in between, it's that and the number one defense. You're talking, that's a good team, right?
It is. If they can have a halfway decent quarterback play, they will have a good team. My problem is that when you look at their backs, they just don't have anybody that screams at me, "Oh my God, we're going to be able to." We're going to have to really watch the run.
Yeah, that's no one in the West, right?
Right.
Except for Jacobs, and you're going Jacobs is franchise, so does he even play? Right. And the Eckler again, he's a scat back. He's not going to line up and beat you 30 times pounding the ball. He's going to beat you out of the backfield, right? He's another wide receiver tight end.
Yeah, I think of the teams with variance this year, I think the Chargers are going to be the ones that are going to be either way outperform or way underperform. And I think the Broncos actually have a chance to be better, but it's going to depend on the Sean Payton relationship, right?
Well, and mine was they lost so many. I think if you look at the first half of the year, right, they lost a lot of 10-9 games.
Right.
If Payton, come on, you got Payton on one hand, and you got Nathaniel Hackett on the other, who is an okay offensive coordinator, a terrible coach, right? When you put those two, if that's not a difference in a touchdown a game, I don't know what is, right?
Well, a difference in a touchdown a game was the backup versus Russell Wilson. There were games that if they had had average quarterback play, they would have won. So
yeah,
they would have been like 4 or 5 wins greater had they had literally average quarterback play. Now, from a Seahawks fanboy point of view in the draft pick,
you want them to lose all the games.
Actually, I think they don't have any more draft picks.
What happened?
All right, we are live, so be careful with the. Welcome, Ripper. We're just having Stryker explain all his thinkings.
All right, so yeah, that's where we sit. I mean, Chiefs take the West, but it's not going to be the runaway like Ripper thinks it is because he's smoking some good peyote.
I didn't think so either. I thought it was going to be. I actually had everybody, I think, at the division splitting interdivision games just to make it easy on myself. But I didn't think so either.
What are we talking about?
We were talking about Striker's picks last week since he wasn't here.
Oh, we made fun of him.
Correct. I just want to throw real quick. I want to throw out what the NFL. Can you name what NFL.com thinks are the top 5 quarterbacks? Anybody?
Let's see. Mahomes.
He's number 1.
Hold on. Let me think. I'm literally out of breath.
No, you're fine. Number 2 is the one who gets me.
Burrow and Allen.
Burrow and Allen are both. Burrow is 3. Allen is 4.
They're putting $40 million man out there, aren't they?
Herbert's 5.
Yeah.
But 2 is the one that blows
Dak
me away.
Prescott.
It's not Dak.
Okay, I was like, man.
Geno Smith. It's got to be
Aaron
Smith.
Rodgers.
Nope.
Aaron Rodgers. No. Wow.
Went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, Jalen.
And I'm like, if Hurts is 2nd and Allen is 4th, Hurts ran for 800 yards and threw for 3,000. Allen ran for 7 and 4. Overall fantasy relevance, and I'm like, there's no way I'm picking. I just wanted to make sure I'm not crazy. You know what, Hurts isn't even in the top 5.
What was Hurts' points last year for fantasy?
We call that confirmation bias.
Well, he's got, it's skewed running. He had 800 something yards running. He had, I think, 21 passing touchdowns. I don't know how many rushing touchdowns. So he did get a lot, and he threw for 3,000 something yards at 8.0 carry or yards per catch.
What were his average points per game fantasy?
Well, it's going to depend on what kind of league you're in, right? But
but
I would not, in any normal league, Allen's better than him twice on Sunday.
Well, pick a league. The VX9 league is not really quarterback friendly per se, is it?
I mean, it's average. It's not.
Well, the money league we're in with Kaibud's not extremely quarterback friendly.
I kind of like that.
It's
though.
touchdown.
I like where the quarterback
it's touchdown friendly, right? So when you get a guy like Mahomes, you get a guy like Allen that's throwing touchdowns. That's great. If you get a guy like Hurts and he's rushing them in, that's even better. But I don't see any way that he's 2. I just don't. And they had, some of the guys that are outside of that was they had, Lawrence was, I think, 7th. So that, obviously there's a lot of star players that were outside of that looking in, and I'm Rodgers. I mean, just, again, I was like,
Yeah, but was Rodgers, he really wasn't fantasy relevant last season, was he?
But do you think, did you think Hurts was? That's the question. It's not who isn't, it's do you think Hurts is a number 2 pick?
For fantasy?
For fantasy.
Like I said, I don't know exactly what his points was, but in my mind, if he's running in touchdowns and throwing touchdowns in the same game, yes. And if you're in a league that's giving you 60 touchdowns,
honestly, obviously, if he's running touchdowns and he's passing them, what I'm asking is, of the quarterbacks, is he your 2nd best fantasy quarterback? Because to me, it's Mahomes, Allen. That's 1 and 2. I'd probably put Burrow before Hurts is way down. He's 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there.
So who were your top fantasy quarterbacks last season? Calvin?
I mean, Little Peoples for sure.
Well, he was hurt half the time. So now you're getting into where you're hurt. Let me look. Fantasy scoring. If only we had an analyst.
Top quarterbacks week 1 to 18, 2022 were Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, see, so where Hurts actually, when you talk fantasy, he's kind of got that Lamar Jackson from a couple of years ago, where he wasn't like super good with the arm, but the legs more than made up for what he lost on the arm.
I'm just looking at
from a fantasy relevance point of view.
Roger, I'm just looking at fantasy pros, right? So, and going top 5, it was Mahomes, Allen, Jalen Hurts, Burrow, and Geno Smith. Justin's number 6 on this one, believe it or not. But there's a big difference between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts point wise. Jalen Hurts, they're saying total league points 384, 428 from Mahomes, so it's a big jump.
Yeah. Okay. That was. I just saw that. I saw that. I saw Hurts, and I'm like,
I like having Allen. There's a league that Striker and I are in. Are you in that league yet? With what's his name? Striker that I'm wearing with
fatal error.
Yeah, that league is like quarterback.
Yeah.
OP, man.
You get a quarterback who's like a top quarterback. You basically don't need to field the rest of the team.
You're scoring 80 points. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. That's why I picked first round. I picked quarterbacks in that league.
All right.
Mama didn't raise no dummy.
So I do have one other question for you. Have you guys caught the Colin Cowherd debacle?
No.
What, with Richard Sherman? No, that's not.
No. That's yeah. Anyway.
What did Cowherd do?
Cowherd basically said of all the quarterbacks drafted since 2013, who could win a quarterback, and he listed one quarterback who is currently deceased.
What?
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins.
Why did he name him?
Was that like an old clip, or?
No, it was like within the last 48 hours, sort of.
Was he trying to be funny?
Nope, just an idiot.
Wow. Okay, well that brought us into a somber mood. Thanks, Striker.
Right? Yeah, well, you know.
Way to kill the mood, Strike.
That's what I do, boys. That's what I do.
All right, we're gonna start off with the Cincinnati Bengals. After that
really?
downer, who hopefully are not gonna die, kill their playoff hopes.
Side note: since football season started, I've dropped 10 pounds. We're sweating so much. Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it's good or not. Water weight.
Football practice. It'll make you lose weight
when football season starts.
I'm sure you'll catch back up in February.
I will. Everything I lost.
Is that hibernation?
Everything I lost, my ass will find later.
Gummies. Lots of gummies.
Lots of gummies. All right, sorry about
that. You've completely lost my train of
thought.
Back
to your regular scheduled broadcast. My bad.
Buddy disconnected from your channel.
Bye, Harley.
So you said what? Starting with the Bengals?
Cincinnati Bengals. So let's go over who they got. They got Trevor Siemian, who signed a 1-year deal. They got Irv Smith. You've always liked that tight end. Orlando Brown, offensive tackle. Cody Ford at guard. Linebacker Terrell Basham. Sidney Jones at corner. Safety Nick Scott. They lost Brandon Allen to the 49ers, who collects quarterbacks like most people collect earrings. Running back Sam Perrine, the old commander. Hayden Hurst, tight end. Cornerback Eli Apple, which is like having two bad corners. Cornerback Trey Flowers. Safety J.C. Bates. Safety Von Bell. Long snapper, no one cares about. They got a defensive end, Miles Murphy. Cornerback DJ Turner in the second round. Third round, they got Jordan Battle, safety. Fourth round, they got wide receiver Charlie Jones. The fifth round, they got running back Chase Brown. Wide receiver Andre Losivas in the sixth round. A punter in the sixth round. And cornerback DJ Ivy. Their line is supposed to be ranked 15th. Their defense 10th. They've got Joe Burrow starting at quarterback. Joe Mixon starting at running back. Joe Chase at wide receiver. Joe Higgins at wide receiver. Joe Boyd at wide receiver. Irv Smith at tight end. And an offensive line. Just kidding on the Joes. There's actually Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, along with Irv Smith. All right, and that is your Cincinnati Bengals.
The Bengals. So I guess I'll start it off.
Yes.
I think we're all in the same boat with this one. So.
Well, pick-wise, yes. The only concern I have, honestly, yes, I think the Bengals win it. I think they do really well again. Will they make the AFC Championship game? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends. And I think their biggest concern for me, anyways, and I'm not sure how well their draft picks were, but is that running back position. I know nobody puts emphasis on the running back, blah, 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 but Bengals running back do work, and, they put in work. Joe Mixon, bro, what he was drafted, almost 6 years ago, 7 years ago?
He's ancient. In running back world, he is ancient.
Correct. That's my whole point, though. How much of a bang-up has he taken, and injuries and so on and so forth? I think that's their biggest concern is running back. Now, I get it. They got Joe Burrow, and they have Jamar Chase and Higgins and Boyd, and great receiving core, for sure. Boyd's getting up there. He's going to long in the tooth for sure, but Higgins and Jamar Chase are great receivers. Tight end Irv Smith, you know, he all right. But again, you
Yeah,
go
you're all
back,
right.
you go back to that running back position. I think that's what they're going to hurt. To be honest, man, I think Joe Mixon is getting up there and he's getting, he was a little banged up last year for a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's also a big boy. He's 6'1", so he's not a small dude.
Correct, but a big boy takes a big pounding, right?
True.
That's that, as I have heard that. Yes.
We're not going to go there.
I was thinking like Henry.
I was
Or
thinking like
Gronk.
you didn't know what the Pornhub sound was. So.
And
I was thinking prison rules, but whatever.
this is not the longest yards podcast.
Anyways, our new sponsor, Pornhub. So yeah, that's my concern for them is the running game. Honestly, look, Joe Burrow, the line's got a little bit better, but I think you need a blocking running back. I think Joe Mixon's a big guy, but how long is he going to hold up this year? Again, we're back at that. Not a big emphasis or not a big value on running backs this year. We know that. But man, look at the work running backs put in. And yeah, you can find any running back that can block and all this good stuff, but I still think the running back will come back someday, sooner than we think, man. I think the running back has a big impact. We've always heard the old saying that your running game opens up your passing game. I still believe that's true. I don't know exactly who Chase Brown is or Trayvon. Oh, we know Trayvon Williams, don't we? As far as Joe Mixon, though, if he's banged up, will it affect him? Well,
I personally do not. He's 27 years old though. Joe Mixon, and he was drafted in 17, second round. Looking at his last year stats. Nope.
But it's like you said, running back years, he's 32.
Yeah.
32 years in the league. He's going to get banged up again. I think they'll still be okay and win their division, but I think long run in the playoffs, it could affect them.
Yeah, so he had 6 games. He had 6 games in 20, 16 and 21, and 14 and 22. And 814 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. I mean, yeah, how much does he go down next year? And is he available for 17?
Crazy we all have him at 12-5 though. Wow. I thought for sure one of us would say no way, but cool. I do think they'll win their division. I just don't see them in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, when I looked at the schedule, I'm like, it didn't. It was one of those that you're like, they have to drop pretty. And again, you never. This is one of those. I look at each team and I go, there's a utopian scenario where they do great. The Bengals to me had the cleanest path.
Let me ask you. One of their losses against your favorite team?
No.
Wow. Funny thing is, I did not pick them losing against your favorite team either.
So, no. But I don't believe in my favorite team, and I even believe in them less now that people are on the bandwagon.
Well, at week 13, Sunshine is going to be in good form, so you never know.
So, yeah, so for me, Burrow's a stud, right? This is a quarterback-driven league. No matter what the running back agents are going to tell you, he's a stud. He's had a mediocre line his entire time. I mean, he's about getting the ball. He's got a connection with his wide receivers. That alone, it's a solid team. It's a solid group. I think they, again, they're going to get their playoff ticket. They're going to probably win the North. There's too many questions elsewhere. Like the Ravens, Lamar can't stay healthy. The Browns, and the Steelers have a new quarterback. There's a lot of stuff that has to go right for every team. This team has proven the last few years that they're the cream of the crop. That's why I have them there. Go ahead, analyst.
Yeah,
wow us with your dazzling statisticians.
No, I really don't have much difference. I mean, the only thing that I can say is the rest of the AFC North just isn't all that stellar. It's the only reason I see them as high as I do. I think the North, and I was telling Harley this earlier today. Like the North is just gonna be a slugfest. I just think the Bengals are gonna come out on top because they will be just a game or two better, and their defense is good, and they got their defense better. So
yeah, by losing a couple players, they got it better, right?
Well, they drafted a bunch of defensive players too, so didn't they? Or am I misreading that?
No, you did. They did.
Okay.
I
mean, they basically said their offense is what they want their offense to be, so let's make a defense. But
I mean, my point is, if you lose Eli Apple, that's like gaining 2 players. So
that's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. Had not considered it that way.
Okay, let's go on to your Baltimore Ravens. They re-signed Lamar Jackson for $260 million, which if you put a gun to my head and said you had to sign him for $260 million or we're going to blow your brains out, I would probably have a 50-50 chance of doing that signing. They signed Justice Hill, re-signed him. They signed Odell Beckham and his ACL. Nelson Aguilar signed. Trayvon Mullen, a cornerback, and cornerback Rock Ya-Sin. They lost Kenyon Drake, Demarcus Robinson, Sammy Watkins, Josh Oliver, offensive tackle Jawan James, offensive guard Ben Powers, edge rusher Justin Houston, edge rusher Steven Means, which cool football name, edge Jason Pierre-Paul, Calais Campbell, defensive end, Kyle Fuller at corner, Marcus Peters at corner, Chuck Clark was traded to the Jets. They picked Zay Flowers in the first round. They got Trenton Simpson at linebacker in the third. Linebacker Tavius Robinson in the fourth. Cornerback Caillou Blue Kelly. 6th-rounder offensive tackle. Not even going to try to enunciate it. Mali Lalalulu. And a guard Andrew Voorhees. Their line shaped up to be the 6th best in the league. Their defense is the 12th. Lamar Jackson at quarterback. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edward combo at running back. Rashard Bateman, Nelson Aguilar at wide receiver, Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers in the slot, Mark Andrews at tight end, and they actually will probably run a fullback in Patrick Ricard. That is your Baltimore Ravens.
Yay. So, yay! Who wants to go first on this one? Okay, Striker will.
The decisions.
So I had them at 9-8, and the reason I had them at 9-8 is their offense has the potential to be good. Like if you go look at, they've got a pretty decent offensive line, they've got a pretty good tight end. Jackson, he's either awesome or he's not. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground. Like he's either a superstar or he's, the second coming of Russell Wilson last year in Denver.
He's Russell Wilson 0.5.
Right. And I mean, Flowers is going to be good. Flowers, I watched a lot of Boston College football last year because I've got a bunch of friends in Massachusetts, and they
I was going
Flowers.
that someone had held you hostage. That was my thought. You must watch Boston College football. No.
Well, yeah, but Zay Flowers is good. The problem I've got is that's it. We have no idea what Beckham's got left in the tank. Now he has been off for a while, but it's Beckham, and all it takes is one coach to tell him he smells wrong or something, and he's going to rip off all his clothes and storm out of the stadium again. So.
Whoa! I walked in to take off all his clothes. Now I really want to be here.
Odell Beckham Jr. and his whole drama queen.
Yeah, only Antonio Brown does that.
Whoa! That's the wrong football, sir. That's the wrong. That's football, not
football. Brown ripped off all of his clothes right at halftime.
I thought it was okay. Well, I thought OBJ did too at one point, or did he just break his foot or something?
Who?
No, Antonio Brown's the one that did it with the Bucks. He threw his jersey in the stands.
Yeah.
No, there was one. There was one with the Giants or the Jets. I thought that was OBJ.
Somebody did
it. He went Giants, Browns, Rams. OBJ.
Antonio Brown did it with the
Bucks. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one before that. That's the one I was thinking of, but I thought it was OBJ. I could be wrong. Anyway.
That's when he started saying him and Brady's wife were friends.
And that's where Brady got a divorce.
Friends with Bennies.
I mean, the Ravens, if they can move the ball better, if they can score better, they've got a potential to be better, but they're just, their defense is awesome. The problem is they aren't going to be able to move the ball.
Are we in the Ravens already?
Yeah, we're on the Ravens already.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. I took it up first, so. So I've got them at 9-8. You two boys have them at 10-7, so you can duke it out. Who gets to go next?
Well, it's not too much of a difference, though, right? I mean,
it's a game.
Across the board, we're kind of pretty similar, except for maybe the Steelers. But listen, Ravens, big contract, right? Now they say, guy signs a big contract, now he's going to throw up a dud. I don't know, man. I think Lamar signed a big contract. He held out for what he thought he was worth, and it paid off, right? But now he's got a lot to prove. And I think he's got a lot of pride in that, right? Pride in the fact that I held out for what I was worth, and now I'm going to go show it. Now, given he's got to stay healthy, right?
Which that is the problem of Lamar, right? Nothing else. Like, no one's going to... If you told me, if Lamar Jackson had played 17 games from the time he was drafted to now, with his body of work, he makes the Ravens into a playoff caliber team. So I don't think anyone thinks that Lamar's not worth the money. I think everyone's like, will Lamar make it 17 games? And the answer has been no.
Well, that's why they say he's not worth the money.
Correct.
Right? You're paying for 17 games and getting 12. Not really a deal there, right?
Yes, and you don't have a decent backup.
No, as we know. What was the contract?
Oh, I just read it.
There's a lot of money.
260? No, it's 260 million, I think.
For 5 years, yeah.
Whew. I mean, that's baseball money, bro.
Includes 135
that's
million
money.
guaranteed at signing and 185 in total guarantees. It also includes a no trade clause.
Look, he's got a lot to prove, man. He's got to go out there and say, hey, I was worth that kind of money. I'm going to give you 17. It's Super Bowl or bust for Lamar now with that contract. It doesn't have to happen this year, but he's got to bring a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl is worth $260 million. You know what I mean? So he's got to bring home a Super Bowl or it's not worth it. Uh-oh, what was that?
That's kid in the background. I have to smack him.
You see? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's not me, it's him.
Yeah, correct.
I corrupted him.
Shoot, he heard you over the Twitch cast.
I'm getting blamed. But anyways, back to Lamar. Yeah, I'm with that. If he brings him a Super Bowl within the year, within his contract, it was worth the money. But he's got to bring him. So he's on the clock. He's got 5 years, right?
Yep. Just want to look at him, by the way. So,
look
how many years has he made? 17, 16, whatever, full slate of games?
1.
Only if we had a Calvin Ridley.
Well, how many? So how many is that though? Out of how many?
1 is 1.
I know it's 1 out of 15. Is I don't know. Lamar.
How long has he been in the league?
Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
As long as you don't pull it out.
Well, so he's got 22, 21, 20, 19, 18.
Well, so let's go with games and game started. He's actually never made a full season.
Wow.
The closest he's got was 2019 and 2020 with 15 games and 15 games started.
Well, he did 2018 all 16, right?
Oh,
He only started 7 of them though.
Let's make this real interesting. Big question, real quick. Would you pay him that money?
Oh, you missed the. If you had a gun, so I said if you had a gun to my head, and you told me you're gonna pull the trigger if I didn't sign his contract, I was on the fence 50-50. Like there's no unless you had that kind of pressure, no way I'm signing him. And what was the pressure? Where was he going to go somewhere? Someone else is going to give him $260 million? Cleveland's already taken. Like,
and who else do you get, right?
Yeah, the only other options were guys like Seattle, and they weren't going to touch him with a 10-foot pole.
But that's the question, though. Like, if not Lamar, right? You have $260 million. Lamar says you have to choose: pay Lamar $260 or go pay some of these other free agents some money to come over here. Who do you bring? Who do you bring that brings you a Lamar? I know Lamar hasn't played the whole season, but he is a good quarterback.
I mean, let's go with the other option. Do you want Tyler Huntley as your option if you can't can't sign Lamar? Because that's who the backup is.
But who are the other free agents?
Oh, I guess you could have Josh Johnson too.
Who else could you have brought in?
I mean, you could have brought in Garoppolo. You could have traded for Rodgers. There's a pile of players you could, but let's face it. There's no he is such an excellent athlete. He makes this team go that. Literally, if you looked at the pieces, you would go, you put Aaron Rodgers on his team, they don't finish 500. Like, that's not this kind of team.
Million? Do you see him fulfilling that contract healthy?
Yes. Yeah.
You see him playing 5 more seasons, 17 games a season?
No. I don't see him staying healthy. But if you told me that he was going to stay healthy and finish 17 games and play the way he does now, which is run all over the place, they are the number 1 rushing offense when he's out. Period. Like that, they run the and then if he needs to, he is that quarterback that if he's got third and long, he can convert. He is a superstar. The problem is he's built like a stick.
It's a lot of money for a quarterback that I think is one good tour away from not playing in the NFL anymore.
Well,
One good Tua.
he hasn't
I
had
love it.
concussion problems, but yeah, I would never have paid him because again, he 5 years he's never finished a season. That's not a good track record. And then the guarantee over half. No.
What was that show? There was a show, I don't remember what it was, but they were showing like the impact of a big linebacker running downfield and knocking the stuffing out of you.
It was like
the force and all that good stuff.
sports analyst or something like that, right?
Something like
Sport,
that.
yeah,
It
and
was-
that's where they had the AWS stats, and they're like, he's running at 62 miles an hour.
and they were using what's his name from the same Ravens team? Great linebacker. man.
Ray
Somebody
Lewis.
to-
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, the guy that kills people. That guy, the murderer.
Yes, the murderer.
Alleged. No,
Alleged. Nah, you never.
he did
No,
it.
Ray Lewis, I'm pretty sure was never convicted. But let me.
I don't think he was even for murder. He was for like like cover up or something like that.
That guy, Ray Lewis, running downfield, knocking the stuffing out of you. Yeah, your career might end. So I mean, I'm just saying, if Lamar, look, the NFL has some mean-spirited guys. They got to be at linebacker, right? Lamar be running downfield, and you got an open, clean shot. And, some guys will take it, and they'll take it hard. And
Bye,
put 'em out
bye,
that
bye.
game.
Oh shit! Lewis dimed out his co-conspirators in the murder trial.
Oh, so he's a snitch.
Oh man.
You go ahead and tell that to him. I believe it was an alleged crime.
I'm asking. It was a question mark. Oh, so he's a snitch? Question mark.
Question. Oh, so yeah, I
So, anyways,
bubble wrap
Ravens
him.
got a lot to
Hope to
prove.
God he stays upright. If you're the Ravens fans, right?
they're on the clock, man. He's got 5 years. The only way this contract makes any sense is if he wins at least one Super Bowl. Will that happen? You're in the wrong division for it, I think. You got someone else there that's going to outplay you every year, in my opinion, and it's Burrow.
Now, because you coach and you coach differently, because you're coaching the little peoples.
We're not talking the Arizona Cardinals.
We're not talking the Arizona Cardinals. If you had, let's say you don't, they're both coming in to what is it, 12, 13, whatever the age group that you have that you're coaching that year, and you got Burrow and you got Jackson, no injury history at all, you just no contract. Which one do you rather have?
It's funny you say that because I have two quarterbacks right now, and one is more of a Burrow and one is more of a Lamar Jackson. The way I coach and the way I like to do things, I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Correct. Yeah.
If he goes down, I have that game plan to switch up real quick to the Burrow. The Lamar Jackson adds that other element, right? The what do you call them, dual dimensional or whatever you want to call them, but you've got to worry about Lamar now running the ball, so it takes off the coverage and opens up some of those pass windows, right?
Yeah.
So and you lose that. You kind of lose it with Burrow, but if you want to have a Burrow, then your running back game's got to be really strong because that's what takes away from that dimension, right?
Yeah.
So
I just
I
the
go
only
Lamar.
having the only thing that I can't stand about those quarterbacks is it really stretches your line. And what I mean by that is those quarterbacks that there's no way he's telling his lineman, I'm gonna go to the right, then I'm gonna wrap around to the left, and then I'm gonna go around the guard 3 times, and then I'm gonna then I'm gonna get rid of the ball. Like the offensive line has no clue what the heck's going on when he starts scrambling.
Some plays are designed, right?
Correct. I'm just talking about the fact that he holds on to the ball so long, and kind of uses athleticism to get. Basically, what he does is he gets it where at some point one of the wide receiver gets separation. That's what he kind of does. And then for the lineman, it's got to be terrible because you're told to make a pocket. Well, if he's scrambling all around, you're running guys into him, etc. So, to me, it's a hard game plan to manage. He's done a great job again, he's a superb athlete. A great quarterback when he's healthy.
Well, when our quarterback starts rolling out, we do something in practice called rollout drills for our receivers. So when he starts going crazy, our receivers know to change directions, run with him, and open up different windows, right? Not just run your route. Oh well,
Yeah, I'm running a fly on the wrong side of the field. Yeah, I'm gonna go over here now.
Well, I mean, that was
though.
the whole Russell Wilson thing, right?
Our O line freaking hates it though. When he starts going crazy rollouts, like we have design plays where he is going to roll out right, roll out left. But when he starts going nuts, and maybe he takes a sack, maybe he doesn't. Aaron's getting up and he's damn line, and the line's like, "Hey, look, man, we can block for you, but we're not fortune tellers. I don't know you're not going to do this or that." Like, yeah, lines hate it.
We had a. I remember we had in the Air Force there was a real blocking type. You had an offensive line and defensive line, and I was the tight end, and I remember blocking, and we had a scrambling quarterback, and I remember him scrambling out as I'm blocking the guy, just perfect pocket, move him all the way around, and literally drove the guy into the quarterback because I had no clue he was going to roll left, and I'm like, dude, you got to say something, like, I'm gonna get you killed otherwise. So yeah, understood. All right, enough about those guys. Let me go ahead and set up for the next one.
Who is next?
It's going to be one of the North teams.
I mean, we only got 2 left, so.
Oh,
It's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
the Squealers.
The Squealers, who, again, if you look at last year, I'm amazed that they did so good. Tomlin's a heck of a coach. Who they get? They got Allen Robinson, acquired in the trade with the LA Rams. Tackle Clark, guard Herbig, guard Isaac Samalu, lineman Armin Watts, linebacker Cole Holcomb, linebacker Roberts, cornerback Patrick Peterson, quarterback Sullivan, safety Kazee, safety Neal, DT John Jenkins, cornerback David Long, quarterback Brian Hoyer. They lost Mason Rudolph. They lost Benny Snell at running back. They lost fullback Derek Watt, Trenton Scott at the tackle, edge rusher Malik Reed. They lost Tyson Alalalu. They lost defensive lineman Chris Wormley, linebacker Devin Bush, linebacker Miles Jack, linebacker Robert Spillane, cornerback William Jackson, cornerback Cameron Sutton, safety Terrell Edmonds, and safety Carl Joseph. They drafted an offensive tackle, Broderick Jones, in the first round. They got son of legend Joey Porter and Joey Porter Jr. Quarterback at second round, Keanu Benton at defensive tackle, Darnell Washington at tight end, Nick Herbert at linebacker in the fourth round, 2 seventh rounders, Cody Trice and Spencer Anderson, cornerback and guard, respectively. Their starters are Kenny Pickett, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Allen Robinson at wide receiver, Patrick Freiermouth at tackle. Their offensive line is ranked 16th. Their defense is ranked 16th. And that is your Pittsburgh Steelers.
So.
Hey, can you pronounce their right tackle's name?
I cannot.
Chukwuma Okafor?
Yeah, cannot. Nope.
Sounds like you need a decoder ring for that.
Correct.
So if I told you they were 26th in points scored and 10th in points allowed, what would you have guessed their record to have been?
Exactly with Mike Tomlin, what their record was.
Okay, because
6-10.
Nah, they were 9-8 actually.
Yeah, and he is amazeballs, by the way. Just that's coach of the year stuff right there.
Well, the running game's still there. I think Najee Harris will do even better this year. The receivers, I'm not big on Deontay Johnson, but Pickens is great. And there's your boy Allen Robinson. I know how much love you got for that one. Didn't you say last year he was gonna be like the best receiver?
I did. I don't know what happened to him, dude. I don't know if he's so used to having bad quarterbacks, he didn't know what happened when the ball hit him in the hands. I don't know.
I think I have Pittsburgh at 9-8. pretty fair assumption based on their schedule. I think they'll have a winning percentage, a winning record. I don't think they'll do better than that, though. Tomlin is a great coach, but there's only so much you can do with what you have, right? I don't believe they have a great team per se. I'm not big on Kenny Pickett, and your backup to that is Trubisky, however you say his name. And
Mitch.
come on now, Mitchie boy ain't all that either. The best thing you have is Pickens and Harris. I'm not sold on Pickett. This is his sophomore year, right? Pickett was a rookie last year, or was he?
He was a rookie last year.
Sophomore year.
So we'll see how he does his sophomore year. He didn't have an outstanding freshman year, but we'll see. I'm not sold on this team. The one thing I do like about this team, and some of the reasons Tomlin has wins, is his defense, right? The pick of Joey Porter Jr. That kid's an athlete. I think he'll have an impact right off the bat. He's also a legacy, right, on that team.
Yes.
We'll see, man. I think 9-8's a fair record for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they'll be middle of the pack. Again, being in the same division with the Bengals kind of puts you at second seat no matter what. To win that division, you'd have to go to the Bengals, and it's not going to happen. You're looking at either Ravens or Pittsburgh Steelers in that second spot, and I believe I have the Ravens on second spot, correct? Yeah, I do. Middle of the pack, man. There's not much I can say other than their offense, to me, is mid-tier because of their quarterback play, and their defense is definitely better, and that's what's going to give them a winning record, 9-8.
You have him ranked higher than anybody else. So Striker's got him at 6-11. I've got him 7-10, and you're not wrong. The questions to me is Pickett. Like, if they are high on this kid, and if he comes out gunslinging, and Tomlin does the same coaching, this team is better than last year. So they got a 500 record basically last year. If Pickett takes a leap in his second year and the defense takes a leap, this team is in the conversation for number 2. And I like Tomlinson, but then I looked at the schedule and I go, when I look at the teams they're playing, I'm like, they're not going to beat this team. They're not going to beat this team. So something has to give on this. Again, I've got them at 7-10. I just don't. Their schedule's too hard. So, congratulations on doing what you did with last year's team. If he wins and if he gets the division with this one, he's definitely. I mean, Tomlin's up there in the coaching hierarchy.
Yeah, but yet you have them.
Yeah, I will.
What do you have them at? 7-10.
7-10. Again, I started looking at the schedule. And I was like, nope.
Hey,
nope.
you know what? It's not 6-11. Speaking of 6-11.
6-11.
I mean, so my 6-11 could be your 7-10, could be an 8-9 fairly easily, right? Like, I just don't see them. I don't see Tomlin winning the games that he did last year. And it's not that I don't think he can. I had to make a decision on it, and that's what I chose. Now, if you go tell me he's going to win a couple of close games, yeah, possible. But he's got to go against some decent teams this year.
Well, and someone has to lose, right? Like you can't all win. Like, yeah. So that was like when I went over the schedule, I was like, that's just unfortunate. So,
I mean, I don't think they beat the Browns or the Bengals this year. I mean, they beat the Cardinals for sure. They beat the Colts for sure. But like, I just don't. There's a lot of games where I don't see the offense being able to keep up, and I don't see the defense being able to hold back. So, I mean, this is one of those that's kind of like the Bengals. I could be really wrong on, but I could also be, or not. Sorry, the Bengals, the Broncos from the previous from the West last week that I talked about at the beginning of the show. I could be really wrong on, but I just don't see it. And I don't have a great defense for it. I just don't feel.
Well, the funny thing is like Belichick, right? Like Belichick had a bad year for him, and there's a lot of teams that are with the talent level of the Patriots right now. They're like, I would have taken that. Is Tomlinson gonna get 12 wins out of this team, and guide the rookie quarterback and make all the moves? And it's possible. But I've never been a fan of Harris. I don't think their wide receivers are that good. I think TJ Watt's a beast, but the question is Pickett. And when I looked at the teams that he has to play each week, I thought they were better. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Sounds
great.
What this chat? Chat's hitting me up.
Yeah.
Everyone's beating the
Chat
Cards this
personal.
year. That's what the general census is. Yes. Next up is going to be your Browns. So
The Browns. You mean quarterback cemetery?
quarterback cemetery. Quarterback you.
Are we gonna really go over the Browns, or well, we got you right, Mr. Taint. Is it? I mean, what's his name again? What's your quarterback's name?
Deshaun Watson.
That guy.
I will go over their roster. So they signed Joshua Dobbs. They signed Marquise Goodwin. They signed they traded for Elijah Moore. They got Jordan Atkins from the Browns. Re-signed them. They signed edge rusher Ogbo Orkanokanokano. They signed edge rusher. Quote me on that one. They signed edge rusher Darius Smith, which was actually acquired through a trade. They signed 2 other defensive linemen, Hill and Hurst. Tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, linebacker Matthew Adams, Mike Ford at cornerback, safeties McLeod and Thornton. They lost the Brisket. They lost Kareem Hunt. They lost Johnson, the other running back, to the Jaguars. They lost Pharaoh Brown, offensive tackle Chris Hubbard, guard Froge Holt to the Cardinals. They lost edge rusher Javian Clowney. They lost edge rusher Chase Winovich. Lost a few other bit pieces. They got Cedric Tillman, Sika Aika at defensive tackle in the 3rd round. 4th round, they got a tackle in Jones. 4th round, they got a defensive end in McGuire. 5th round, they got a quarterback in Robinson. 5th round, they got a cornerback in Mitchell. And the 7th round, they got a center. They're projected to have a 2nd best offense and 18th best defense. That is your Cleveland Browns.
Yay.
Oh, wait, depth chart. Sorry. Deshaun Watson at quarterback, Nick Chubbs at running back, Amari Cooper at wide receiver, Elijah Moore at wide receiver, Donovan People-Jones at wide receiver, tight end David Njoku. That is your Cleveland Browns.
Yay! Once again. Well, back to quarterback cemetery. Man, look. Every time the Cleveland Browns have a new quarterback, his career ends. Is that going to happen with Deshaun Watson? I don't know. I mean, you kind of feels that way, right? Because he already came in with a lot of drama, right? The whole Tank Tickle thing.
Tank Gate.
Jesus Christ. Did you just say taint tickle?
And we said it twice, because once wasn't enough.
Well, so you're waiting. We're all waiting to see. Like, he starts from the start. He's going to start the season. We're waiting to see. Is the curse still there? Is the Cleveland Browns really where quarterbacks go to die? I believe the curse is still there, man. I think Deshaun Watson's career is somewhat over. It's trending very much so downhill, especially after the TT incident. Running back Nick Chubb's only getting older. Still a great running back, though. I think he's still got a couple good years in him. Cleveland's not really where running backs going to die. They still have Amari Cooper, which I still, to this day, believe the Cowboys' biggest mistake, getting rid of him. I don't understand that.
I thought it was signing Jerry Jones, or having Jerry Jones as the owner.
Yeah, well, we know that. Elijah Moore, not a bad receiver either. Donovan People-Jones is starting to come around. Njoku's always been a I wouldn't say top tier tight end in my opinion, but maybe right under. Not a bad team offensively, but the big but is this the year that Watson's career ends, and that's just based on the way quarterbacks always end up playing in Cleveland. Now, I get it, Baker Mayfield, all that, a lot of hype fizzled, but there's been other quarterbacks that have gone there to die, and it just happens.
Yeah,
So,
Johnny Manziel, who doesn't watch film. I mean,
yeah. So we'll see, right? If this is not true and the curse isn't real, then Watson comes out and has a big season. He's got the staff for it. He's got the receiving staff, the tight end, the running back. Everything is there. Their defense should still play fairly good. This is a team that we could be completely wrong about, or I can, anyways. On the record, I haven't met 8-9 with a losing record, but if their season isn't over and he really comes out and is the Deshaun Watson from pre-TT incident, then we're going to see a spectacular season from the Browns. But I truly believe that the curse is real. I think the TT incident took a lot of gas out of this guy's career, and I believe that 8-9 is honestly being a little generous, but we'll see.
This is his stats from 2020. 4,800 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 112 quarterback rating. 2022, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks, 79 rating. Again, you can't go because Houston put him on the bench for all of 21, right? And then half of 22, he was stuck on the bench because he was suspended. It reminds me a little bit of Vic. And it took Vic how long to get acclimated? And I don't think he ever quite crescendoed where he was before, but let's look at him when he came back. His career stats.
Hey, I'm just saying, your kid's beating me in the F-bomb.
Yeah, he is.
I need to throw one out.
So when
after Taint Tickler, really?
In 06, yeah, you're good. In 06, Vic was a starting quarterback. It took him. He was in 09. He was mediocre, and then his first good year was the year after. So my point is, if following that blueprint, because they were off for similar periods of time, right? Obviously, Deshaun wasn't in prison, so there's a little difference there. But assuming that it takes him a season to knock out the rust, this is the year, right? And he's gonna show the Browns that he's the franchise quarterback and he's all that. He was a terror. He was he was a terror when he was with the Texans and they were, beating the tar out of us. So I did not like Deshaun Watson when he was at his peak. He was a great quarterback. He's got the weapons. Like you've got a complimentary running back that's one of the top in the league. You've got really good wide receivers. Cooper, you think is great. Moore's a great wide receiver. People Jones does just enough. They've got a great tight end. They have everything they need around him to be good. So I think he's going to be somewhere in between. So the defense is only 18th. The line's really good. I think he's going to be somewhere in between where he gets 3,000 yards, a decent amount of rushing touchdowns, and he still throws too many picks. That's what I think. If I'm wrong, these guys can win the division. Pretty simple. If he comes back and he throws for 4,500 yards and he's one of the top quarterbacks, I don't know that he'll get to that level. And I think there's a lot of mental to this game. And when you make a mistake and your fans start booing you because they don't like you because of the TT incident, that really rattles you, right? Your teammates will do it like every, if he comes, like I said last year, if he comes out and he starts doing great, but he didn't do great, fans were booing him. And I think that he's that personality type that needs that I'm the greatest kind of thing out there. So I see him somewhere less than that Houston peak, and that's where I have him. Striker. Yeah.
So my problem with the Browns is I just don't feel. That's the right way to put it. They didn't do anything, right? Like they didn't get any better. They didn't get any worse. They just kind of got. And it doesn't help that their first pick was in the third round, and it was the 74th pick overall. So they didn't even really get a good chance to upgrade. They just don't have much in the grand scheme of things. I mean, maybe Watson's good, maybe he's not. Chubb will be good. I know that, but I mean, I just don't see it, and that's where I struggle with this team. Is I just don't see them being better or worse than last year, and I don't see a lot of variability. So, maybe they do better, maybe they don't, but they're about a 500 team. So I don't know. Nothing special there. I mean, there's not even much I would take fantasy wise on this. Maybe Chubb if he fell to the late second round, I might swing at him, but I'm not touching Cooper. I'm not touching Moore. I might touch Peoples Jones, but that's even questionable.
Yeah. Just wanted to look up one thing real quick.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Watson's not terrible, but I just don't think he's worth the contract that they signed him to. I mean,
and Ripper, do you think he's? Do you think he's gonna? You just think he's done, right?
No, I think that's the big question mark, right? I do think that the TT incident took some gas out of his career. Yes, I do believe that the curse is still real, especially for him. I do think he's going to go downhill. Again, if I'm wrong and he's not, then they're going to have a hell of a season. But yeah, you're right. I do believe that his career is on the downtrend. I think that once again, here we go, man. Year after year, the Browns have proven that the quarterbacks just don't survive being on the Browns team. Bye bye, TT. It's always a future for you on Pornhub.
What's the top quarterback? What's the top wide receiver? And what's the top running back out of this division?
Well, you know that.
They're both top quarterback and top wide receiver are easy.
Same team, right?
Burrow and his buddy.
Yeah. Yep. Top running back for me is Pittsburgh. Chubb could be there too, but
really,
I really like Najee Harris.
I see Chubb. I see Chubb all the way. He reminds me a lot of a guy who is just going to get his production.
I don't doubt you see Chubbs.
See, what you guys don't realize is the best running back is actually going to get traded midway through the season to the Browns, and his name is Justin Fields. So, where quarterbacks will come to die and become running backs.
Okay.
All right. Anyone in chat land still awake? Any questions for us? The Browns helped the Saints out last year anyway. I'm awake. Sensor's awake. He has no questions. All right, guys. This has been another good show. We got one more left. We got the South next week. So watch as Wardy cries. It'll be fun. You guys have any other things before we go?
Are we going to have our controversial topic of the day or whatever it's called?
Sure, I don't care. I like it. What is your controversial topic of the day, Striker? I mean, other than the mood killers you started off with.
Deshaun Watson is going to have 10 more charges brought against him for taint tickling before the year's out.
But I thought you said these are outrageous.
I mean, 10's a big number, so.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think the existing 22 wasn't a big enough number for you?
Right.
I don't. Bengals do something stupid. That's how they don't win the division. Ripper, what you got?
Well, you already know it. Sean Watson is the masked Pornhub TT star of the year. The adult, what is it? One of those awards they give the adult performers?
AVN.
Deshaun Watson bombs with the Browns, and by the end of the year, he wins himself an AVN for his TT specialty on Pornhub.
There you go.
Yay, Deshaun.
Yep. You got great insight, guys. All right, we'll be here next week with the AFC South. Thank you, guys. I'm out.
Later.